Stella, can you hear?
Okay guys, we're here in Rochdale. We're just about to have the speeches. We're at an event called Survivors First.
Yeah. Yeah, so we're going to get started now. So I'm just going to kick things off today. So my name's Danny. I'm one of the founder members of Survivors First. I also run a group called Shatter Boys UK, and I'm a consultant for the National Inquiry into Child Abuse as well, and the survivor myself. I'm not going to talk about my story today, or share my story, because I've said it a flipping million times, but there's a lot of people today who are going to get up and they're going to share their stuff. The reason they share their stuff, it doesn't come from a place of ego, or, oh, check me out, I've sorted myself out. What it's used as a vehicle to inspire other people.
Yeah.
Because if people hear... Oh, let me just turn it up a bit. It's Dave saying you can't hear. Is that better, Dave? Yeah, so what people are going to be doing today, they're going to be sharing their experiences and carrying a message of hope. Because the thing is, like Dave says, there's people out there who are not with us today, who are sat in bed sits, jacking up, out shoplifting, sat in isolation, working themselves to death, you know, all the impact issues that we know of. You know, some people haven't had the privilege today of being able to like sort of speak out. So people are going to be sharing their experiences today. So others who are watching, family members, the public, can connect with what's being said and think, flipping heck, if they can do that, if they've got their lives together, if they've joined together, then maybe there's kind of like sort of hope for me. And that is why we share our experiences. There'll be also people talking about issues that affect society. Going to be talking about loads of stuff, but enough about what I'm saying. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to kick off with a little number I've put together. It's not a song, about Survivors First and who we are. So there's a clear picture on who we are and what we're about as a collective. So we are Survivors First. We are a rapidly growing UK-wide group of survivor organisation groups who have come together under the umbrella of Survivors First. And we have an overarching goal in mind, which is to ensure survivors' voices are heard and child protection and prevention are in the public interest. We've started a UK-wide movement which we launched in London at Speaker's Corner just over a month ago, encouraging the uprising of survivors of all kinds of childhood sexual abuse, exploitation, and members of the public to stand alongside us and unite. We cannot do this alone. Together, our voice is stronger. We aim to work with local authorities, support services, and those who come into contact with survivors, including the police, to work with us to create a safe environment where survivors feel safe to come forward to seek support and justice from trauma-informed services. We understand the situations with austerity and resources, but what people have to realise is that many people who we work with see the dire consequences of not enough time and money being put into this subject. And we, the survivors, are determined that something is going to be done about it. From our own personal experiences and from hearing what the voices of other survivors say, we know people are frightened to come forward and disclose. When they do come forward, the specialist support isn't always there due to lack of available services or long waiting lists, particularly in the public sector. The third sector is greatly underfunded. We are aware there are shorter waiting lists. In some cases, the focus is off survivors and providing the best service, as they are preoccupied with fighting tooth and nail for funding to stay open, and can become about power and ego. We know people are afraid to disclose to police and can be afraid of people in any position of authority due to past experiences. We want people to know that things have changed. Reporting abuse has changed. Police resources and in this field have changed. And what we aim to be is part of that, delivering training to police like we've done in the past, making these people trauma-informed when they're supporting survivors. We know not dealing with core issues for an individual affected, with issues such as child abuse, leads not only to self-destructive behaviours such as drink, drugs, self-harm and potentially suicide, it has a massive impact on those around us and our loved ones and family members and society. Not dealing with the impact issues child abuse causes and the legacy issues it leaves have a massive negative impact on society and puts a strain on services and a cost to the government when not dealt with at the earliest given opportunity. We would like to highlight that professionals who do not exercise professional curiosity at the earliest time when clear signs and symptoms are ignored or not spotted through lack of training are part of the problem we need to address. So just to touch on that a little bit more, you know, there's young people who was in school, who was at football, who was at church, who was amongst people who had a duty of care to them, yeah? They was coming in, stinking a pee, yeah? Distracted, can't concentrate in class, running away from home, all that kind of stuff. Professionals have witnessed this throughout the years, social services, teachers, scout leaders, church leaders, football coaches, yeah, and done nothing about it because they didn't want to approach the subject or they were ill-informed, and that is kind of sort of part of our mission which we hope to change as well. We believe enough is still not being done in terms of prevention targeting young people around bodies and personal body safety. And our aim, as part of our campaign on public awareness events, is to highlight the issue to the public and make child protection public interest. So what I mean by that, what we truly believe is that young people, children, teenagers should be spoken to about childhood sexual abuse, about grooming, yeah? What we want to do is get body safety and personal safety as commonplace as the Green Cross Code, yeah? Spoke about at dinner tables, yeah? Because if young people are informed and maybe they have the words, yeah, which some of us didn't, to speak out and ask for support and ask for help and safely disclose. Also, from our experience, people who have been sexually abused are desperate to be heard, and the majority feel they don't know where to turn or where best to go to speak. A common overarching message we hear is that survivors are desperate for rapid access to help when they feel the time is right to disclose, you know, and as we know, that can be a small window of opportunity. You know, somebody might listen to this and think, flipping heck, you know what I mean? If they're speaking out about this, it might touch a core issue with them, yeah? There might be that small opportunity, that window of opportunity where they feel confident to speak out. Excuse me, sorry. They want someone to speak to, someone who understands, and someone not to judge, and someone who actually gets it. One of our main aims of Survivors First is to be part of the solution. We don't want to be part of the problem. We don't want to be victims. We want to be survivors. We want to be looking forward. We want to be spreading a positive message of hope. We don't believe in putting all the onus on the authorities. Our way forward is a message of personal responsibility and working together to achieve safe and timely change. We believe from our lived experiences and from hearing what voices of many survivors, from hearing from many of the voices of survivors, that self-empowerment is key. Collectively, we have had the privilege to bear witness to hundreds of survivors' experiences and witness them entering into their own healing journey through peer support. And this is something I'm going to touch on in a minute. We believe one survivor helping another is without parallel. We have seen through identification and connection with someone with lived experience that it plays an integral part for a person to move forward on their journey. Seeing someone who's getting on with their life and being a productive member of society is both encouraging and inspiring. We recognise and acknowledge that the impacts abuse has. We recognise and acknowledge the impacts abuse has, and we stand firmly on moving forward and reclaiming your life back. We begin to realise through this process we deserve better, and it wasn't our fault what happened. We start to understand the impact issues and the maladaptive coping mechanisms we use are unhealthy and become redundant. We create a new way of living through support from our peers and develop new tools to cope with life and begin to make that transition from victim to survivor. In previous times, many of us have sought solace through drugs, alcohol, isolation, self-harm and anger, acting out in ways which made us numb to feelings. This doesn't have to be the case anymore. Many of us has ended up in various institutions such as mental health units, rehabs, hospital and prison because we didn't have the words or space or wasn't asked that simple question, have you been through some sort of trauma when you were a child? We have witnessed the tried and tested answer, which is peer support, from individuals who are well on their healing journey. We at Survivors First publicly share our lived experiences and how we have moved forward and reclaimed our lives from a hopeless place and a self-destructive state of mind. Our aim is to set up and plant peer support groups in our local areas. We are in the process of our first being in Warrington, Cheshire, which will be launched very soon. We're open in the next 6 weeks. We have piloted the model previously over a 2-year period, which was successful. We are now ready as we have the manpower, skills, ability and correct people on board to move our vision for survivors forward. But like I say, we need the local authorities to work with us to help create an environment where people will feel safe to come forward. We will be actively encouraging survivors to come forward and seek support and justice. We aim to be part of the solution by offering peer support and signposting to relevant services if they are available. We firmly believe that the more people who come forward, the more evidence the police will have to deal with sex offenders. And the more evidence, the less offenders we have on our streets. We will help the police prosecute. We emphasise that we want to work together with all relevant agencies and groups, including the police and local authorities. We believe that given the chance we can become an important part of preventing young boys and young girls walking around the streets at night in ignorance, and we can also help young children locked in abuse behind a computer. We want to shout out from the rooftops, you are not alone. Together we feel we have a duty and opportunity with our collective skill sets as Survivors First to leave behind a legacy of peer support groups throughout the UK so people don't have to suffer alone, isolated in silence.
Well said, mate.
So
well
thanks
said.
everybody for listening. So that's what Survivors First is about. So that's kind of our mission statement in a sense. So what we're doing is, myself and Dave, tomorrow we're over in Dublin. The Pope's over in Dublin, so we're supporting survivors of the Catholic Church, networking. What we're doing is we're going UK-wide, yeah. Within a short space of time, yeah, we will have hundreds of survivors behind us. And once we've got hundreds of survivors behind us, that's when we will get at change. Our fight is not with the police, not with the authorities at this given point in time. Our fight's with survivors and to get survivors on board backing us. Because once we have the backing of survivors, all singing from a single voice, yeah, we cannot be ignored. Yeah, we cannot be ignored. We will not be ignored. We will get into the corridors of power. We will get round tables at the Home Office, yeah. We will get into a place where we cannot be ignored and we refuse to take no for an answer. Whether the police, the local authorities, get behind us or side with us, yeah, we'd like that, but if not, we're steaming ahead anyway, because this is way more important than them. And more important, well not more important, but equally as important, what we need is the public behind us, yeah? We need to get this stuff, childhood sexual abuse, child protection, in the public interest, yeah? We know it's a gritty, dirty subject, yeah, that people do not want to discuss, people do not want to talk about it, yeah? But what we're doing, yeah, as a collective, is bringing it to people's dinner tables, yeah? Because this is about kids, yeah? So thanks everybody for listening. So next up, Sheffield, which has come all the way from Glasgow, who's going to speak up next. Thank you.
Coming up now, guys.